Hello, welcome to the Loop and Bar podcast. This is episode 11 and I am Kate, coming to you from North Wales in the UK. It's Monday, the 29th of August, and I just wanted to sneak in a quick podcast before cast on day of the autumn cozy along. No. Cozy Autumn Along. You'd think I'd know the name of my own Cal. So the Cozy Autumn Along, Cal, that myself and Antonella of Antonella Makes podcast are hosting. Cast on day is the 1st of September and that is on Thursday. And I just wanted to do a quick podcast just to talk a little bit about that for anybody who doesn't know about it already. And if you do know about it, maybe if you're joining in, you've probably been on the chatter thread in Ravelry. We have a chatter thread going on already, and we're starting to get quite excited and show off yarns and patterns, and sharing ideas of the things that we're going to cast on. Mainly very ambitious lists. I'm seeing a pattern developing. I think that myself and Antonella seem to be attracting the same sorts of friends, very like-minded people who, rather than just want to make one small thing, which is absolutely fine. Yes, you can do that. Most people have a very ambitious list, like myself, and I'm pleased to say that I think some people have even got a bigger list than mine. So, phew. Yeah. I hope I'll be able to get through all of my list. So I will share the yarn and the patterns with you for the Cal and a little bit more of the details about the Cal in a minute. But first of all, I am going to show you the progress on my Carpino jumper, because I totally forgot to show it in the last podcast, which is good in a way because I've done more, so there's more to show you. So it's more interesting. So the last time I showed you it, at the moment I'm knitting it in the round, and I'm knitting it on a fairly short circular needle, so I've transferred it onto several cable wires, interchangeable wires, which are all dangling off the bottom, just for the purpose of showing you it not bunched up, if you know what I mean. So here it is. So it's top down. Now it's a dark colour, so I might struggle to show you it really very well today, but you're getting an idea of the lace pattern there. Oops. You'll hear a bit of clanking, it's all the needles. And Squirrel's the wrong way round, isn't he? I've put him on the wrong way round again. So there's my lovely progress marker. And that's where I was the last time I showed you. Oh, it's blowing the light out of it. It's going a bit of a weird colour. So the last time I showed you, that's where I was. I'd only done an inch or so. So I've done quite a lot. I've knitted all the way down the arms. I've put the arms onto holders and done a good few inches of the body in the round. I'll give you a close-up of the lace. It's just the lace in the front and then the rest of it's stocking stitch. Oops. So it's a really, really nice lace pattern. So I think it's hard. I think it's just going to be a bit hard to show you. It's probably not going to come up too well. But I just wanted to show you how much I'd done on that. I just tried it on before starting the podcast, and I'm pleased to say it fits. It's snug, but I actually really like that. I was a bit worried it was a bit tight under here, but I don't think it is. I think it's because I've got the string quite short, so that cuts across a bit. So I don't really want to cut it in order to see, because then I might lose some stitches. But I'm pretty confident that once I've cut that string that's holding the stitches, it's going to be okay. So it's a lightweight jumper really. It's made in alpaca. Where's the... Oh, I haven't got the yarn. Drops alpaca, which is a brilliant yarn. Really, really good for the budget. And beautiful colours and really, really soft and lovely. So that's in Petrol Mix, I think, that colour. I'll put it down because it's clanking and clanging. That's my Carpino sweater. So I'm knitting away really quickly on that. The lace repeat is really lovely and simple. It's done over four rows. I think, and only a 4-stitch repeat, so in a different combination on each row. So it's lovely it's very easy to read, it's very easy to keep track of, and it's very easy to memorise as you're going on through the pattern. So it's being a really lovely knit actually. So it's one of those knits that's mostly very simple, but the lace gives it the interest, so it's not boring. So it's perfect for TV knitting as well. So that's my Carpino sweater or jumper. And I think there's not much point showing you the Andrea shawl because I'll just have a quick check. No, I've barely done, I think I've done like 1 row since I showed you it last. I took it to Knit Night, Knit and Natter, and because I do so much nattering, I don't do very much knitting. And also because we're helping a couple of people who are learning too. So the idea is that I take that because it's really simple to work on and I can chat while I'm knitting, but I don't really get that much knitting done, to be honest, but I really enjoy Knit Night. It's absolutely brilliant. So I've been sort of working away between the 2 of those projects, but mainly working on the Carpino. So hopefully I'll carry on with those because I've got 4 more cast-ons to do over the next week, but really on Thursday. But I'll talk about those in a minute. Okay, so the next thing up is, let me just read my notes. I'm going to be organised because sometimes I make notes and still forget things. I haven't got it to show you here because I've left it on the computer at work, which is where I did this, and I didn't email it back to myself, which is very silly. So and because it's Monday and it's my day off work, I'm podcasting, then I'm hoping to edit this and then get it out this evening onto YouTube. So that's not going to allow me to get the file with my new logo, or should I say our new badge logo, to show you. But I have made a nice logo sort of badge for the Ravelry group, for the Loop and Bar Ravelry group. So hope everybody in the group likes the new badge. If you haven't noticed it, just have a quick look, see if you like it. I did post a picture of it in the What You're Working On thread as a sort of whip as I was doing it the other day. So because it's hard to see it as the badge on Ravelry because they're actually really small, you can't really zoom in on them. But there is a picture of it in the Loop and Bar Ravelry group in the What Are You Working On thread, if you want to see a bit more of a close-up of it. And I'm hoping to somehow get that into a file so that I can make it into little business cards or little postcard sized cards, so that when eventually the Etsy shop comes, I'm making I feel like I'm what's the word, building up to the Etsy shop. It's just going to be something small, and there's probably only going to be a few bags at a time in there, but it is something I want to do. I'm doing it slowly in the background. There's so many other things that I'm sort of doing as well. So, but when if and when I do sell some bags on Etsy, I'd like to be able to send a nice little thank you card, a sort of what's the word? Thank you card. So I'm going to use that logo for that. So I don't think I can put a photo in here because, I haven't got the file. But if you want to have a look at it, pop along to the Ravelry group and have a look in the What You're Working On thread. There's a picture of it in there. Or just have a look at the badge on the Ravelry group. So I've been busy doing that. What else have I been doing? Acquisitions for the cowl. Oh, do you know what? I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'll just talk about... Oh, where did I put that? Oh, I've left it downstairs. I was given a... Oh, do you know what? I'll go and get it. Back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So it was my birthday last month, so quite a while ago now. But I hadn't seen my sister for a few weeks. Things kept coming up and we were not managing to meet up. So she sent me a card in the post, but she saved the birthday gift until we saw each other. And we met up at the weekend, me and her and the children. And we had a really lovely time. We went out for a lovely walk. There's a nice little place where they've got some farm animals, so pigs, kind of free range in a field. And I think there's some alpacas, but we didn't see those. Some ponies, ducks, guinea pigs. Oh my gosh, they were so cute. Yeah, so, and a river to walk by and a really big play park. So we went along, we took a picnic, and we sat in the lovely sunshine, and my little niece Evie played in the play park, and so did we a little bit with her. And there were lots of children for her to play with, so that was good. And my little nephew, Beau, who is only 4 months old, basically just slept in his pram, or just watched us quite happily, so that was good. We had a lovely picnic, and I was given a birthday present. Evie was very excited to give me the present because it was all wrapped up. So, and there were a couple of things in there, but this is the one I really wanted to show you because it's so pretty. I've showed you a mug, a little cup before that Anna got me last year or the year before for my birthday. Can't remember, last year or the year before, and this is by the same ceramicist or the same artist, so it's a little bowl. And it's got a little flower. Oh my gosh, and look, it matches, I didn't realise this, but it matches my dresser. Oh wow, that's amazing. You ought to get a little, see if I can get a little, mind you, I'll probably sit it like that on the dresser. Ooh. Obviously it's really small compared to the dresser, really. Anyway, it's got this beautiful little flower in the middle. I just thought it looked so cheerful and really pretty and really simple. I love this kind of pottery. And then it's got a signature on the bottom, but I don't really know. I've forgotten the name of the ceramicist, but I'll look it up. I'll look her name up and put it here. I've linked it before when I showed the mug. So I just thought that was really beautiful. So that's one of my, I'm not going to call it an acquisition because I didn't buy it. It's just a gift that I received this week, and I thought that was lovely. But I did acquire something through my own means. I couldn't resist this. I don't even know how I found it. Maybe I was looking on Pinterest for something. I don't know. But somehow I stumbled across this, and I had to go to the Etsy shop and I had to get myself one of these prints because it is absolutely beautiful. And I think that I see myself acquiring at least one or two more for my sewing room. And this is by an artist called, I'll put the sticker on the back, Rebecca Jones. So the sticker's on the back there. I think she's English and living in Australia. I definitely know this has come from Australia. So sorry Rebecca if you're not English. Anyway, she's in Australia, so this came really quickly as well. It came within the week. And it's a print of a teapot. And it says, I love tea. You just couldn't say it any more perfectly than that. I've got a frame down here for it. I haven't put it in the frame because I thought the glass would reflect and then you wouldn't be able to see it very well on the podcast. So I'll try and give you a close-up. Gorgeous. I absolutely love it. I think it's watercolour and another medium as well. It looks like there might be some pencil crayon on there too. And she's probably used something like gouache, or I'm sure I remember reading the word giclée, but I don't know what that means. Anyway, so it's sort of a watercolour quality type picture. But it is beautiful, and it's going here in my sewing room, somewhere on the wall. And hopefully I might get another one with it at some point as well. She's got some pictures of teacups as well in a very similar style. I'll pop it there. Single ones, and then she had one on her blog. I'll put what her blog is here for you as well, and I'll link it in the show notes. Of 3 teacups, or was it 3 teapots. I think it's 3 teacups anyway. They're all beautiful. They're absolutely lovely. So I wouldn't mind a little collection of her pictures all the way around this room. So that was a little acquisition that I treated myself to earlier on in the month. I know what I'm going to talk about next. One of the lovely members of my Ravelry group and subscribers to the podcast, Jo, asked me in the Ravelry group if I could let her know who the lady in the picture that usually is hanging on the wall here, who the lady is. And I really liked that question because I have been intending to talk about this picture on the podcast at some point, so I thought that was a really appropriate time to do it, to answer the question. And in case anybody else has been wondering, or even if you maybe didn't even notice it, the picture's usually here. There's the hook. It's usually on the wall there, so next time you see the podcast it'll be back in place there. I've taken the glass out of the picture. It's in its frame, but I've taken the glass out so I can show you it, and it doesn't reflect from the screen. So I'll just show you the picture. Oh, hopefully it'll stay in place. So it's from a black and white photograph that was kind of a bit bigger than that. It's actually about twice as big as that, but I've only got one hand free. 6 inches, 5 inches, something like that. And when I worked at the art college as a technician, my friend was in charge of the IT department, and he helped me to scan it into the computer and make it bigger, and we printed it onto really nice quality watercolour paper. And I made one of these for my brother and for my dad as well, because this lady is my gran. And this was taken when she was, I don't know her age actually, but it was during the war when my granddad, obviously her husband, was away at war. And they didn't have their own cameras. People used to, well, so I've learned, the trend or the thing to do used to be, if you could afford it or if you had access to this, was to go down to a photographer's studio and have your photographs taken. So a lot of people used to do that and then send the photographs as postcards to their loved ones who were away at war. And my gran used to do this, and we've got a lot of them, and we've got a lot that my granddad sent back to her, and he would write on the back really lovely messages to her as well. And we have pictures of her and the children, because he went away to war before his daughter, so my auntie, which was their first child, before she was born. So he didn't even meet his daughter until she was 5 years old. So my gran used to send him photographs really regularly of her and the children, of her and Sandra, my auntie Sandra. And then my dad was born after the war. So anyway, and so this is one of the photographs that she sent of herself to her loving husband, which I think is really beautiful. It's a really romantic picture, and it's just gorgeous. It's just so, the soft focus, the way she's looking down at the flowers, I just think is lovely. And it's very special to me because my gran, I grew up next door, living next door to my gran and granddad, and they helped to bring us up, basically. So they were a very big part of my everyday life. Like, I used to go there for breakfast and for my evening meals every day. So I used to pretty much live half there and half at my house, which was fabulous. She was always there, it was great. So, and my gran taught me how to knit and sew, and I have her sewing machine. So she's not with us now. She passed away when I was in my sort of late 20s, sadly. But she was 93 when she passed away, so she'd lived a very long and happy life. So anyway, that's my gran. Her name was Madge. She doesn't look like a Madge in this picture, but that was her name, Marjorie. Yeah. And a really, really lovely shirt. I might have to try or a blouse, should I say. I often look at that blouse and think I'd quite like to try and follow the pattern for that, or make a pattern for it. Let me put this somewhere safe. Oh dear. Sorry, lots of noise and shoving around. Yeah, so I think that's all there is to say about that picture. Yeah, so she's on my sewing room wall because, well, I was very close to my gran, and she taught me how to knit and sew, and I think she gave me that passion for the things that I love doing today. So yeah, that's the picture. So it'll be back there next time, so look out for it on the wall. So I shall move on to the Mystery WIP, because the Mystery WIP is finished. I finished it a couple of nights ago. I'm really, really pleased with it. I'm absolutely over the moon that a couple of people have guessed what it is. A couple of people in my Ravelry group know what it is already. Antonella, and now, was it Joanne? Yeah, I think so. I think Joanne's name is Port Hardy. Is that how you say it? Port Hardy, because it's spelt Port Hardy. The phonics in Welsh mean that you say the TH a different way, and I know I'm English, and you probably will pronounce that in an English way, but if it's a word that I'm not familiar with, I can get a bit mixed up. I think it's Port Hardy. I hope it was you. I'm sure it was. Oh, I feel a bit scatterbrained today. I've been out in the sun all morning. Anyway, so 2 people in my Ravelry group have already guessed what it is. So very, very well done to you. That was very, very exciting for me. And I think it was for you, judging by the messages that you sent. So for everybody else, if you haven't already guessed, oh, you got a little sneaky glimpse just then. Here she is. Ta-da! The Mystery WIP was Fancy Hen. Yeah, actually, putting her next to the picture, I'm pretty pleased with that. So she is made in, she's a doorstop, by the way, but you can make it as a cushion or a bookend. You can use her as a bookend. Actually, she might work well as a bookend on the dresser, or just a toy for somebody. So she was, for me, I intended to use her as a doorstop because this door here, I've usually just, can you see it? You can maybe just see it there. I've got a tin of paint. I mean, it's Laura Ashley, so it's fairly attractive in itself, that tin of paint. But I thought that a Fancy Hen might look even nicer. Having said that, now I've spent all this time knitting it, and using such absolutely beautiful yarn, which was, just to remind you, this lovely Estonian yarn sent to me by Melody of Mandarins, and I've got all of this left, and that. So I got 2 balls of this yarn, and this is what I've got left. That's amazing. So I've managed to make, whoops, Fancy Hen using just a small amount of this yarn, and it wasn't held double, it was just held single, but so I've got loads left over, and I'm going to use that for something else, which I'll show you in a minute. And the red yarn was something that I don't know what it was anymore because I bought it years ago. But similar sort of feel and weight. From Loop of London I bought it. Anyway, so what was I saying? I've put some, she's stuffed with wool, just ordinary wool stuffing. And she's got a few handfuls of ceramic baking beans in her bottom, just to make her, just to give her a bit of weight so that she stays sitting up. And that was in case I do want to use her as a doorstop. I used ceramic baking beans because I did not dare put things like beans or wheat or rice, because I just wondered in the winter time, when it's a bit damper in the atmosphere, whether they would take on moisture and make her go a bit mouldy, and I didn't want that. So just to be on the safe side, I've sacrificed some of my baking beans. I've still got plenty left over, and that's what's in the bottom, but most of it is just wool. Oh, she's got lavender in her. Oh, she smells lovely. I put some dried lavender in too. And she's got buttons for eyes. I'm trying to make up my mind whether the eyes don't look a bit crazy or not. Does she look a bit like a crazed hen with a Mohican? because this is supposed to be her comb, they call it, don't they? I'm yet to make my mind up. I've done the comb in Fibre Spates, spiced plum, because I had some of it hanging around. I bought some more of it. I'll show you that in a minute. So I had a bit of this hanging around, so the comb's done in that. I wanted to use that because it was a little bit more vibrant, and I think it's worked really well. So yeah, I'm trying to decide whether I need to replace the buttons for her eyes, just to make maybe a bit smaller. Tell me what you think. Does she look a bit crazed? I think it looks okay like that. She does look a bit like she's got a Mohican. She's a punk chicken. Anyway, so there you go. Oh, the pattern is by Ella Austin, and you can get this on Ravelry. So if you just search for the Fancy Hen by Ella Austin, I got it from Bar Amu. Oh, there we go. That's a wool shop in Leeds. There's another picture on the back. So there are some other lovely patterns, colourwork patterns, and I think she's done some more farmyard animal patterns as well, Ella Austin. So have a look at her patterns, or have a look at the Fancy Hen. And if anybody else knits one of these in the future, please share it on the Ravelry group, because I'd love to see if anybody else makes one and what yours turns out looking like and what colours you choose. So yeah, I'd love to see if anybody else has a go at doing it. You knit it in the round. So you start at the bottom here, and you knit in the round all the way up, and then when you get to sort of that bit, you put these stitches on. Ooh, the tail hasn't been knitted yet, so you put those stitches on hold, and then you knit this. I switched onto double pointed needles because I didn't have a small enough circular. You could probably use a small sock needle for that. So you knit all the way up and just follow the pattern for the head. Then you put some of these stitches on and do the tail, follow the pattern for that, and then you graft the top. So I haven't grafted before, I had to YouTube it. It's a bit lumpy bumpy there, but overall I'm quite pleased with my first attempt at grafting, especially because I wasn't really prepared for that. I didn't realise that was what I was going to have to do, so it was a bit of a last minute. I'm quite pleased with it actually. Yeah, apart from those two little bumps. And then the bottom's just stitched up. You stuff it from the bottom and then just stitch it up. I'll put a little picture here of me doing the stitching up, because it just shows you what's inside it. There's a bit of stuffing and a bit of the ceramic beads, and you can just see how I finished her. And then you knit these, the comb separately and the beak, and then just stitch them on as well. So, ta-da, Fancy Hen. I'm really, really, really pleased with it. I love the colour work. I don't know very much. I know about that there is something called colour dominance. I know what it means. You have to choose the colour that you want to be dominant, and you want to pop out more. I've still got to get my head around how to achieve that. I know in theory it's to do with which way over you cross your floats when you're carrying your yarn in the back. But I think I'd have to do some practice and really maybe knit one of each, one colour dominant first, then the other colour dominant in a sample to fully understand exactly how it works. But yeah, so I don't know which one's the dominant colour. If anyone knows, let me know. But I'm quite pleased with how the pattern's come out. There's a little tiny mistake there, look. I don't know what happened. It didn't join up. The circles didn't join up at the top. Something went a bit wrong, but that's okay. I don't really mind about that. It's my first ever attempt at a colourwork project, so I'm pretty pleased with it. And which leads me on to the Welsh word of the week. It's the word for chicken. So, in Welsh, a chicken is a cyw. And more than one chicken, visual props, is yeir. So yeah, so that's just a little quick Welsh word of the week for you. Cyw, chicken. Right, so that's the Fancy Hen. And she might go on the floor as a doorstop, but I'm a bit afraid that something might happen to her. there has been known to be a little mouse in this house. It does not appear to do any damage, it doesn't appear to leave any mess, but I just happen to know that occasionally a little mouse appears, usually downstairs. I can't bring myself to put poison down, and you can use her as a bookend. Actually, she might work well as a bookend on the dresser, or just a toy for somebody. So she was, for me, I intended to use her as a doorstop because this door here, I've usually just, can you see it? You can maybe just see it there. I've got a tin of paint. I mean, it's Laura Ashley, so it's fairly attractive in itself, that tin of paint. But I thought that a fancy hen might look even nicer. Having said that, now I've spent all this time knitting it and using such absolutely beautiful yarn, which was, just to remind you, this lovely Estonian yarn sent to me by Melody of Mandarins. And I've got all of this left, and that. So I got 2 balls of this yarn, and this is what I've got left. That's amazing. So I've managed to make, whoops, fancy hen using just a small amount of this yarn. And it wasn't held double, it was just held single, but. So I've got loads left over and I'm going to use that for something else, which I'll show you in a minute. And the red yarn was something that I don't know what it was anymore because I bought it years ago. But similar sort of feel and weight. From Loop of London I bought it. Anyway, so what was I saying? I've put some, she's stuffed with wool, just ordinary wool stuffing. And she's got a few handfuls of ceramic baking beans in her bottom, just to make her, just to give her a bit of weight so that she stays sitting up. And that was in case I do want to use her as a doorstop. I used ceramic baking beans because I did not dare put things like beans or wheat or rice, because I just wondered in the winter time, when it's a bit damper in the atmosphere, whether they would take on moisture and make her go a bit mouldy. And I didn't want that, so just to be on the safe side, I've sacrificed some of my baking beans. I've still got plenty left over, and that's what's in the bottom. But most of it is just wool. Oh, she's got lavender in her. Oh, she smells lovely. I put some dried lavender in too. And she's got buttons for eyes. I'm trying to make up my mind whether the eyes don't look a bit crazy or not. Does she look a bit like a crazed hen with a Mohican? Because this is supposed to be her comb, they call it, don't they? I'm yet to make my mind up. I've done the comb in Fibre Spates, spiced plum, because I had some of it hanging around. I bought some more of it. I'll show you that in a minute. So I had a bit of this hanging around, so the comb's done in that. I wanted to use that because it was a little bit more vibrant, and I think it's worked really well. So yeah, I'm trying to decide whether I need to replace the buttons for her eyes, just to make maybe a bit smaller. Tell me what you think. Does she look a bit crazed? I think it looks okay like that. She does look a bit like she's got a Mohican. She's a punk chicken. Anyway, so there you go. Oh, the pattern is by Ella Austin, and you can get this on Ravelry. So if you just search for The Fancy Hen by Ella Austin. I got it from Baramu. Oh, there we go. That's a wool shop in Leeds. There's another picture on the back. So there are some other lovely patterns, colourwork patterns, and I think she's done some more farmyard animal patterns as well, Ella Austin. So have a look. Have a look at her patterns, or have a look at The Fancy Hen. And if anybody else knits one of these in the future, please share it on the Ravelry group, because I'd love to see if anybody else makes one and what yours turns out looking like and what colours you choose. So yeah, I'd love to see if anybody else has a go at doing it. You knit it in the round. So you start at the bottom here and you knit in the round all the way up, and then when you get to sort of that bit, you put these stitches on. Ooh, the tail hasn't been knitted yet, so you put those stitches on hold, and then you knit this. I switched onto double pointed needles because I didn't have a small enough circular. You could probably use a small sock needle for that. So you knit all the way up, and just follow the pattern for the head. Then you put some of these stitches on and do the tail, follow the pattern for that, and then you graft the top. So I haven't grafted before, I had to YouTube it. It's a bit lumpy bumpy there, but overall I'm quite pleased with my first attempt at grafting, especially because I wasn't really prepared for that. I didn't realise that was what I was going to have to do, so it was a bit of a last minute. I'm quite pleased with it actually. Yeah, apart from those two little bumps. And then the bottom's just stitched up. You stuff it from the bottom and then just stitch it up. I'll put a little picture here of me doing the stitching up because it just shows you what's inside it. There's a bit of stuffing and a bit of the ceramic beads, and you can just see how I finished her. And then you knit these, the comb separately and the beak, and then just stitch them on as well. So, ta-da, fancy hen. I'm really, really, really pleased with it. I love the colour work. I don't know very much. I know about that there is something called colour dominance. I know what it means. You have to choose the colour that you want to be dominant and you want to pop out more. I've still got to get my head around how to achieve that. I know in theory it's to do with which way over you cross your floats when you're carrying your yarn in the back, but I think I'd have to do some practice and really maybe knit one of each, one colour dominant first then the other colour dominant in a sample to fully understand exactly how it works. But yeah, so I don't know which one's the dominant colour. If anyone knows, let me know. But I'm quite pleased with how the pattern's come out. There's a little tiny mistake there, look. I don't know what happened. It didn't join up. The circles didn't join up at the top. Something went a bit wrong, but that's okay. I don't really mind about that. It's my first ever attempt at a colourwork project, so I'm pretty pleased with it. And which leads me on to the Welsh word of the week. It's the word for chicken. So, in Welsh, a chicken is a cyw. And more than one chicken, visual props, is yair. So yeah, so that's just a little quick Welsh word of the week for you. Cyw, chicken. Right, so that's the fancy hen. And she might go on the floor as a doorstop, but I'm a bit afraid that something might happen to her. There has been known to be a little mouse in this house. It does not appear to do any damage. It doesn't appear to leave any mess. But I just happen to know that occasionally a little mouse appears, usually downstairs. I can't bring myself to put poison down. We tried a trap once, but it took us, this was like last year or even the year before, it took us a very long time to actually work out how to set the thing. We nearly broke our fingers in the process. It was so delicate that it kept going off every time we tried to move it and put it into the cupboard with the cheese on it. Eventually we managed to get it in the cupboard, because the cupboard where the mouse appears, it's under the sink, so thankfully there's a hole in the back of the cupboard to let the pipe for the dishwasher through, and that is how the mouse gets in. So it must live just in sort of in the gap somewhere between in and out of the house. There's no food in there. I've put all the cloths and things into a dish with a lid, so it can't get anything like that for its nest anymore. There's nothing of any interest for a mouse in that cupboard. It can't get out of the cupboard. There's just some bottles of cleaning things and the washing up liquid. I do not know why it goes into the cupboard, but occasionally it does still appear in the cupboard, and I know because it does little droppings there. So I have to clean it all up again. So yeah, anyway, we put a trap there once, and what we found was the cheese had gone in the morning. The trap hadn't even been set off. After it taking us about half an hour to set the trap and it not keep going off, somehow the mouse managed to get the cheese and not set the trap off. I don't know how they do that. So we just gave up. We took that as a sign and said, fine, if you want to live in that cupboard, you can live in that cupboard. You're not doing any harm. But I just do get a little bit afraid in case it got out one night and chewed up my fancy hen. Yeah, so she might live on the shelf, she might live on here. The dresser still has not got very much stuff on it. I've put a few things on, that's not really my attempt at dressing the dresser. I've still got to put another layer of paint on, so eventually at some point that's going to look a little bit more like an actual in-use dresser. So bear with me on that, it's still a WIP. Yeah, so that's the fancy hen and that's the mystery WIP, and very, very well done to the two people and anybody else who guessed what she is. Oh, I've done the Welsh word as well, crossing it off. That's good, isn't it? Very organised of me. Oh, and the tea poster, I've done that too. Mabel. Mabel's on my list. If you follow me on Instagram, and if you've seen any of my posts in the last week, then you will know that I've had a little special visitor called Mabel. She was going to be on this episode. I'm gutted. I was actually going to introduce her, but I'm not gutted. I'm also very happy. It's not a sad story, it's very happy. But this morning when I woke up, she was in her nest on her window. Oh, she's a bird, by the way. If you don't know what she is, I found a little tiny house martin a week ago. She was on the grass verge by my house, and right at the top of the house, it's really high up, there are about 10 or 15 house martin nests. She'd obviously fluttered out of one of those nests, landed on the grass, no injuries or anything, but wasn't able to get back up. She wasn't big enough to fly all the way back up there. I left her overnight just in case there was any way that her parents would come and get her and I don't know, help her up. I don't know if that's possible. Well, it wasn't, because she was still there in the morning. So that's when I took her into the house, put her in a little basket with a homemade nest out of some hay and moss, and bought some mealworms. I was digging up worms out of the garden, but then I cottoned on that you can give them mealworms, looked on the internet. Soaked in water so she could get a drink as well. And she's been hungrily gobbling those down for the last week that I've had her. She came to work with me for 2 days. I'm really gutted that I haven't got her here. She was going to be here. But here's a picture of her, or a little video, if I can do a little video of her on my hand. This is earlier on in the week, so this is Mabel. And I'll put a few pictures of her at the end of the podcast as sort of as an outro for you. But this morning, well, over the last couple of days, she's been really keen to have a go at flying. She's been, well, from the day I got her, really, found her, she's been stretching her wings out one at a time, then both at the same time, then flapping them, and then doing a little jump off the side of the basket. She's been hopping around the kitchen. Avion discovered that she loves to be on the windowsill, so he relocated her there. And as the days have gone on, I've been taking her outside and holding her on my hand, on my finger. Well, just she's been sitting on my finger like that. And she's spread out her wings and let the wind go underneath her wings and just felt it. And then she's done a little launch and fluttered, kind of flown down onto the grass. And she's been doing that quite a bit. So that's been our flying practice. So we did. She's been wanting to do more and more of that as well. So I know, and I've been watching her tail feathers getting longer and longer, because I thought that they weren't really long enough to allow her to fly yet, but they really have been getting. She's been growing a lot really quickly. So, this morning I gave her her mealworms, and then I took her outside onto the grass for a little fly. And I just was not prepared for the fact that she was ready to actually fly away. I thought she would just fly down to the ground, which is what she's been doing. She's just kind of launched off my finger and fluttered in a very controlled way down onto the grass. And then I've picked her up and we've done it a few more times. And then she's gone in for a little rest. But this morning I stood there with her on my finger, and she had a little think about it. And then she just launched, actually the first time, the minute we came out into the garden, she'd actually dived off my finger and did a bit of a sort of swoop up in the front garden. So then I picked her up and took her out onto the out onto the farm where she'd have more room. And lo and behold, she launched herself off my finger, she swooped down, and then she swooped up, all the way around the side of the house, over the greenhouse, and then out of my sight. And I thought, oh, and I kind of ran around the side of the house and into the garden where she'd gone, and I couldn't see her anywhere. So that was it. Mabel's flown away. Me and Charlie have been in the garden searching just in case she got stuck somewhere, or you know, had landed on the grass and just needed help getting back up. But to be honest with you, the way she was flying, she could turn corners, she could go up and down. She was ready. So I think she's flown away. She's probably rejoined the rest of the birds. Hopefully she's gone back up to a nest now. But she is going to be fine. So if I see her again, I'll let you know, but I don't think I'm going to. She was very eager to get back out and be independent, and I'm just really pleased that I saw her flying off into the sunshine. I'm very confident that she's going to be just fine. So, but I do just keep looking out the window just to check if she's in the garden or not. And I have left her nest and her mealworms on the windowsill just in case she comes back tonight, but I don't think she's going to. Yeah, so that was Mabel. So I had her for a week, and it was an absolutely wonderful experience having a little baby house martin to look after, and a real privilege. So yeah, thank you to everybody for all your lovely comments on Instagram who've been showing an interest in Mabel and what's been happening with her. So yeah, good news. She's got strong enough, and she was strong anyway, but yeah, she's grown up and flown away. So yeah. Good old Mabel. So that was fun. I've been largely taken up with that this week, actually. That's taken up a lot of my time because she needed feeding really regularly. So, but that was fun. Oh, I can cross that off. Gosh, we're nearly through it. Okay, so I'm going to show you some yarn acquisitions because I haven't got. Yeah, I did. I got these. Yeah, I've got these all in the last couple of weeks. So, sorry, I've got an itchy nose. Just to scratch my nose. It's tickly. Oh, I'll just have a little drink as well. It's a really hot day. I've been out gardening all morning. I'm so pleased with all the gardening that I've done. I've moved some lavender. If I get a decent picture, I'll put it in here. But if not, sorry. I'll try and put it on the blog, or yeah, at some point. So I've relocated some lavender. It was getting overtaken in my wild flower bed. It was supposed to make a really beautiful border, but really everything else just grew over the top of it. But the lavender plants themselves are lovely and strong, so I just dug them up. I know you shouldn't do that in the summer, but I've done it, and relocated them to line either side of the little pathway that leads from my front garden through to my back garden. So hopefully once they've grown out a little bit more and bushed out, you'll get that effect when you walk through the two sort of lines of lavender. You'll brush them with your legs and you'll get that lovely scent release of lavender. So I think they're in a much better place. And I've tidied up my front garden, which felt brilliant. So that's what I've been doing, and also I've been getting ready for the CAL, the Cozy Autumn Along CAL. So myself and Antonella, of Antonella Makes, the Antonella Makes podcast, are hosting the Cozy Autumn Along CAL, and I'm very, very happy to say we've got quite a few people in our Ravelry group chatter thread for the CAL, already talking a lot about the CAL and getting really excited about what we're going to make for it. So I just want to say a really big thank you to everybody that's showing an interest and that's joining in with the CAL. It's really, really, really loads of fun. I'm loving it, and we've had loads of brilliant chat. We're starting to share pictures of yarn and patterns, and I've been asking for a little bit of help as well with a stitch pattern, so thanks to everybody who's responded to that. I've started swatching because I want to cast on Thursday all 4 of my projects. So I've ordered some new needles, so I've got all the right yarn, patterns and needles all paired up. They're in piles here, right next to me. I might take a picture of that and show you because it's the most organised I've ever been, which I have to be because I'm doing this cal and another cal at the same time. So firstly, did I show the yarn already? I showed it on the last podcast, didn't I? Yeah, I'll do a very quick because I've caked it up. So this is the Silver Cloud alpacas. I've caked it and I love it. I'm doing a swatch. Oops, I've stolen one of the needles off this. Oh no, I've stolen both of the needles off that. I'm doing a very quick swatch. This is going to be a cowl. You can't see very much here. I don't think. You're not really going to be able to see very much. That's just the first swatch that I've started doing. I'm going to knit a cowl and I'm actually making the pattern up kind of myself, but I'm using the stitch pattern from a free pattern from Ravelry. Sorry, I've got a really tickly nose. I don't know why. It's the stitch pattern from the Spring Pools sock, which I am intending to make as well with some other yarn that I showed in a previous podcast. So, and I'm just using the lace repeat from the chart to create the stitch pattern. Just a really simple repeat pattern all the way around for the cowl. So I have to do a swatch so that I know how many of these repeats to make the cowl the right size for me. I ran into a bit of a problem though. I couldn't understand some of the instructions on the chart. There's one bit that says, there's a little star on one of the boxes and it says slip last stitch to front rows 6 and 14, stitch 56 to the front. I don't really know what that means. And then there's another bit where it's 2 stars and it says slip last stitches of first repeat to back rows 7 and 15, stitch 28. I can't get my head around it. I've emailed the lovely lady who put the pattern on Ravelry because it's a free pattern, so always completely appreciate anybody who puts on a free pattern, such a beautiful pattern as this as well. I'll show you a quick picture. A bigger picture. Oh no, ooh, sorry, all that. What a noise. But there's the pattern of the stitch. So that's what I'm trying to recreate. That's just what I had in my head for this colour of yarn and for this yarn that I wanted to make. So hopefully she'll get back to me and help me just to interpret what that means, that instruction, because I've got so far on doing the sample and then couldn't go any further. But I did a little bit of hunting around on the internet. I was actually looking for another cowl pattern with a very similar stitch repeat. I've got one in my favourites that I got off Antonella's favourites, which was a really beautiful cowl. So I would have maybe used that pattern. Had I not found, I just stumbled across this, another free pattern. It's the Baby Chalice blanket that appears to use the same stitch. And this is what I've asked on Ravelry, just for people to help me identify if they think it is the same stitch repeat, the same stitch pattern. And the chart is written slightly differently, and I've read through it and I can understand, I think, everything, yeah, because they've written it out as well, so that's good. I can understand that better, so if I just switch to following that one instead of the other instruction, then I think I should be okay. I should be able to do my cowl in my chosen stitch pattern, so hopefully that will go okay. So I'm making I'll put a picture in here of what I'm going to make next with this yarn. So this is the rest of the beautiful Estonian yarn. This is a bit like, I would liken this to a slightly thicker weight version of the Jamieson's Shetland, very slightly softer, but still very rustic. Oh, it smells so gorgeous. And it's got that beautiful heathered colour. And this is going to become the Treehouse Mitts. I've been saying the wrong name. I've been calling it Treetops, so sorry about that. Apologies for any confusion. It's actually the Treehouse. So I'm doing the Treehouse Mitts with this yarn, and then I'll put a picture of those in here. And with this yarn, which is by a yarn by Julie Asselin. Is that how you say her name? Julie Asselin. And it's a hand-dyed yarn. Whoops, there's her label. So I've showed it before, so it's just a quick show for you. Caked up, always looks really gorgeous in cake form. It's a worsted-y sort of weight yarn, kind of, double knit worsted. Yeah, it's worsted. And that is going to, I can't wait to have this. It's going to become, oh, sorry about the chair again, it's creaking. Oh, it's going to get boring, isn't it? The treehouse, yes, treehouse hat. And hopefully I'll have enough left over to do the pom-pom. I'm sure I will. So I've ordered some needles for that because I want to knit that on a circular but not magic loop. I'm not a massive fan of magic loop. I don't mind using magic loop, but if I'm knitting anything that's got like a lace or a textured pattern, I'm not very keen on using a magic loop for that. I just like to get the right size needle and knit just continuously. So I've ordered a few different needles, and I'll show you those once I've cast on. I can show you those as works in progress or new cast-ons. And I'm also going to be knitting the featherweight cardigan. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that. By, oh sorry, the Treehouse Mitts and Treehouse Hat are by Melody of Mandarins. I should have said that. And they're available on Ravelry as well. Oh dear, what a horrible, horrible creaky sound from the chair. This gorgeous yarn is Madeline Tosh Merino Light. 3 skeins of it, all caked up, in the colourway Calligraphy, which is gorgeous. It's like pearly grey. It's got tones of pink and lilac and sort of grey, dusty grey. Gorgeous, so soft, and it's going to be really lovely to knit with. I'm knitting that on 4mm. I've done a little mini swatch for that, which I've undone again because I just want to use all of the yarn in the cardigan. Anyway, so that's going to be the featherweight cardigan by, oh, is it by Hannah Fettig? Oh, let's have a look. Yeah, it's a knit bot pattern by Hannah Fettig. So my printer's not very good. It's not the best picture, but that's the cardi. But if you look in if you want to know, if you're not familiar with the cardigan and you just want a quick way to look, you can look in my favourites or just go on Ravelry and search for the featherweight cardigan. Because I've been calling it the featherlight as well. I'm not very good at remembering pattern names. So that's all the 4 things that I'm knitting for the Cozy Autumn Along Cal with myself and Antonella. If you want to join in with that, it's cast on day is the 1st of September, so that's on Thursday. It's a 2-month cal, so it will run until the 31st of October. We will be doing a giveaway to say thank you to all of the people that take part in the cal over those 2 months. So we'll give out details about the giveaway further on, closer to the end of the cal. We have opened, myself and Antonella have both opened a chatter thread, so if you want to come along and have a look at the chatter thread, and if you're deciding whether to join in with the cal or not, or if you've decided to and you want to come and say hello, come and join in with one or both of our chatter threads. You're welcome in both, but it's absolutely fine if you just want to join in with one of them. You'll find mine on the Loop and Bar podcast Ravelry group in the Cozy Autumn Along Cal thread, chatter thread, and that's where we'll be continuing once we've cast on, where we'll continue to show and talk about the things that we're making. And if you want to go over to the Antonella Makes podcast Ravelry group, she has also opened a chatter thread in there. There's quite a few of the same people, but also some of the groups have some different people in them as well, separately different people, if you know what I mean. So it's very worth, if you think you've got time to pop into both of them, come and say hello in either. And if you want to then just continue in one, that's absolutely fine as well. So join in however you want to do that. Or just come along and have a look at what people are already talking about. The other cal is a cal that Antonella is jointly hosting with some other people, and whose names I've forgotten again, but I did say it in my previous podcast, but it's the Be Kind Cal. So you can have a look in Antonella's, the Antonella Makes podcast group thread for the Be Kind Cal if you want to know more about that. And I believe one of the other groups where you can go along to a chatter thread about that is the Wool Club on Ravelry, and there are some others as well, but there'll be information on Antonella's I think I linked in my last podcast. If you go back to the podcast 10, episode number 10, show notes in the Ravelry group, if you want to know who else to go and refer to for that, for the Be Kind Cal. So it's to knit the shawl from the pattern the Be Kind Shawl by Vera Valimaki, and that's on Ravelry. And you can also knit, if you don't, I don't know if you have to knit the shawl. I think Antonella was going to find that out for somebody else. I'm going to knit the shawl because I really love that shawl and I wanted to join in. But you can also, if you want to, knit the Bird of Happiness, and there's a little heart pattern as well. I think there might be additional extras. So if I get time out, I have got some yarn that I wanted to do the birds in. But my Be Kind shawl is going to be knit in this gorgeous yarn which came during the week, and it's Fibre Spates, that's the company, Vivacious 4-ply. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's got a really lovely, quite a high twist, which I actually really love. I love singles as well. I love all kinds of yarn. I've got a really eclectic or varied taste in yarn. This is gorgeous. I love knitting with it. I already had a skein of this that I just bought randomly from Bahram U when I was in that shop, and that's how I got to know about this yarn. And I've just been looking on the internet at this yarn for the last year since I had that skein, and I wanted another skein, this is the one I had originally. This is the colour Spiced Plum, so it's tonal, and I thought that sounded really autumny, which was lovely because it's taking place in the autumn, this cal. And this one is Tweed Imps, the colourway Tweed Imps. And I'm not sure if I would have thought to order that if Antonella hadn't have said that that was one of her favourite colours, and I looked at it again and I thought, actually, that is really lovely, and I nearly ordered the whole thing in this, but I really, really wanted another skein of that. And then I realised that they actually both go together, so it won't be exactly ombre effect, but it's going to be like a two-tone shawl. The shawl does require 3 skeins, it's quite a long yardage, but I have more of this. So I'll either incorporate more of that colour, or as I start knitting the shawl, I may incorporate like a cream into it, or a completely different contrasting colour. But I'm going to decide that a little bit further on down the line. I might end up just using the yarn that I've got because I've bought so much yarn already. I've yet to decide, but it's going to be those colours. It's gorgeous. So I've got a lot of knitting to do over the next 2 months, which is why I'm starting swatching now. I'm trying to be organised with it all. And the giveaway, I just wanted to mention as well, for my 200 subscribers giveaway, by the way, I've actually gone over 300 subscribers now, so that's brilliant. So thank you to everybody who subscribes. I'm really surprised. Somehow, in the middle of the week, last week, it's jumped from about 360 something to, from about 260, 265. It jumped to 300, it's gone over 300. So I'm not sure how I suddenly got an influx of subscribers. So possibly, maybe I had a mention on someone's podcast. Maybe that happened. If so, I don't know who it was, if they did. So thank you very much if you have mentioned me on your podcast. Thank you ever so much. And if I haven't come over to say hello, it's just because I've got no idea that you've mentioned me on your podcast. So or maybe not. Maybe just, I don't know. Perhaps because I've had a lot of new people follow me on Instagram as well, so perhaps that's because I've been sharing a few different things with new hashtags. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the Cal because we're linking up with new people in with the Cal as well. So for whatever reason, I've had lots of new subscribers and followers. So that's really brilliant for the podcast and a really big boost for me. So thank you very much. All new subscribers are welcome, or just watchers of the podcast. So the giveaway to celebrate that I had over 200 subscribers is nearing an end, the time that you have left to enter. So thank you to everybody who has already entered. It's been absolutely lovely reading all of your hellos in the giveaway thread. If you just heard a scratchy noise, which I don't know if you did, Charlie's chasing flies downstairs and her paws are scrabbling around on the wooden floor. So you might hear a weird scratchy sound and a big lurching, or a snapping, which is her jaws going like that, trying to get the flies. She's quite handy for that, actually, to be a fly catcher. What was I talking about? The giveaway. Yes, the project bag is ready, and I shall be drawing the winner from the people who have entered the giveaway on is it 31st? I'm just going to look at my calendar. Yes, there are 31 days in August, so it'll be on the 31st, which is on Wednesday. Actually, I'm going to draw on Thursday because it's occurred to me, I've been giving this a little bit of thought, how to do it. And I'm going to leave the entry thread open until, I won't be up at 12 o'clock at night, probably till about 9 o'clock in the evening, British summertime, on the 31st of August. So I'll be closing down the thread basically before I go to bed. I don't go to bed very late because I live with a dairy farmer who gets up really early, so that means I wake up early too, so it means I have to go to bed early. So yeah, I shall close the thread at the end of my day on the 31st, which will be around about 9 o'clock British, 9 p.m. British summertime on the 31st of August. So that's in a couple of days' time, on Wednesday. And I shall draw the winner the following day. Avion is going to help me, I think. Now, I had a go at this random number generator. I know everybody uses that, and I know it's a really good way to select a winner. But I had a little go, and I felt like a little bit let down, a little bit of an anticlimax, because I wanted there to be a bit more of a build-up to selecting the winner. But basically, you just put the two numbers in, maybe number 2, you choose two numbers, so 2 to 35, let's say. And then you click a button, and I thought there'd be some kind of like drum roll and a little bit of suspense, and then it would go da-da, ping, and then give you a number in a really sort of exciting way. But it just, you click and a number just appears, and you're like, oh, is that the number? Oh, okay. Obviously, I didn't do that with in any relation to the people who have entered. It was just me having a go because I've never been on random number generator, and I wanted to know whether you had to buy an app for it or something like that. So I found it a little bit of an anticlimax, and I thought that I might just go old school if nobody has any objections and put numbers in a hat, or it will be a bowl actually. I'll do it very, very evenly and fairly. Obviously everybody will just have one entry. It's doable. I think there's about 30, there's under 40 people. There probably aren't going to be more than 40 people. So I think that's a really nice number as well, because it gives you all a good chance of winning, and it's not too many people for me to write numbers on a piece of paper. And I thought I'd put them on exactly the same size of paper, fold them over twice, seal it with a bit of tape so that nothing gets caught on each other. They're all a little flat parcel that's all going to have an equal chance of being selected, and then put them in a bowl, jostle them all around, just like you used to when we were little, when we were choosing things, you know, pick a number out of the hat, like a raffle or tombola. If nobody has any objections, that's how I'd like to do it, because I think that it makes a little bit more of an event out of it. And quite possibly I have asked Avion if he would like to select the person to pick the number out of the bowl, and he's sort of, not exactly reluctantly, but yes, he's agreed to do it. So I think that we're going to get Avion here. I don't think he's going to be a part of the actual podcast. We'll probably just do it separately, and then I'll just sort of insert it in. Because apart from anything, he'll be working on Thursday, so he'll have to just come in and do it on his lunch hour or something like that. And then what I thought would be that he could read out the winning number in Welsh, and obviously we'll tell you it in English as well, but that could be the Welsh word of the episode as well, spoken by a Welsh speaker. So I thought that would be nice if you could hear some Welsh spoken by an actual Welsh speaker, so it will actually sound like it should do. However, if anybody has any objections or can see any problems with me doing the giveaway, drawing the winner in that way, please let me know. Either let me know on the, just personal message me on Ravelry, or let me know, no, don't let me know in the giveaway thread, because you can't do that. You can only enter in the giveaway thread. Just send me a personal message on Ravelry. If you can think of any problems, why that might not be fair or why it might not work, or if you simply just prefer that the winner would be selected by a random number generator, I'm really perfectly happy to go ahead and just do that. I don't mind at all. Avion won't be offended at all. He'll be probably quite relieved that he won't have to come and do it on the podcast. But if people agree, if everybody's okay with it, then I think that's what I'll do. So please let me know. Just tell me if you don't think if you think that it won't work, if you prefer it. Yeah, I'm going on now, I'm just saying the same thing. Yeah, if anybody objects, I'll just do random number generator, and it's totally no problem whatsoever, and I don't mind. If everybody thinks it's okay, Avion will draw a number out of the hat and tell you all in Welsh who's the winner. And that's all I'm going to say. So you've got another, what is it today? Monday. Yeah, you won't see this till Tuesday. So Tuesday, you've got 2 more days to enter the giveaway, if you'd like to. And if you want to know what the bag looks like, because I actually haven't got it with me, which was silly, it's up there, so I won't get it now because I flattened it and put it safely in another bag. Just pop over to the Loop and Bar Ravelry podcast group and have a look in the 200 subscribers giveaway, and there's a picture of the bag there, and it tells you everything you need to know about the giveaway there. So good luck to everybody, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who wins the bag and to seeing where I'm going to be sending it to in the world. So, and that is everything today. I've managed to make that under an hour, so that's brilliant. I was hoping for half an hour, but hey, it was never going to happen. I think I will possibly do a few more little farm photos on the outro here, because people seem to like that. I've had quite a few people asking for some pictures of the garden and the farm, and I really enjoy sharing a little bit of that with you too. So, and a little bit of Mabel maybe, and what we've been up to. So if I can find some nice pictures to share with you, I'll put them in a little bit of an outro here. And then if you're not that interested, if you just came for the knitting and that side of it, then that's fine, you can click off. If you want to see the pictures, yeah, just carry on watching to the very end. So thank you for watching, and I'll be back in a few days' time to announce the winner of the 200 subscribers giveaway, and to share some of my cast-ons for the Cozy Autumn Along. Okay, I was just thinking, I didn't know if I said that right, but I did, I got it right. Hooray! Oh, Charlie's here. Hey, Charlie. Oh, I don't think you can see her. Do you want to say hello? There you go. Hey, Charlie. Charlie just came in time to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, and see you in a few days.